While it only spent about a decade as an independent nation, Texas Independence Day still holds a unique place, a special place for sure in history. There were battles with the Mexicans in the months prior to and the months after March of 1836. But what happened in Washington County a little over 2.5 weeks' time have served as a uniting symbol for generations of Texans. Yesterday, we traveled to hear from those at Washington on the Brazos at the celebrations and reenactments.
It's the 179th anniversary. This is one of our bigger programs. We're trying a lot of new stuff, and we have a special honor this year with the Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, coming to speak today.
And then we have signatures in my office of every one of our founders, from Davy Crockett to Jim Bowie to Sam Houston to Stephen Austin to Anson Jones, David Burnett, our first president, all of them in my office. And they look down on my desk. And it reminds me of the serious responsibility that every one of us today has to do what they did. And we're not even asked to do what they did. And I'll talk about that in a moment. But what they did was to nourish Texas, to cherish Texas, and to hand it off to the next generation. And I say we don't have to do what they did because we're just asked to take tough votes and make right decisions. They put their lives on the line so that we all could be here today. What would America be without Texas? You know, I always say in speeches that the world depends on a strong America. You know, there's a lot of jealousy in the world of our country, but when they get in trouble and they dial 911, they expect the United States Marines, Army, Air Force, Navy, and the American taxpayer to bail them out. And we have generation after generation. But what would America be without Texas? The truth is, yes, the stats show that we created more jobs in the last decade than the other 49 states combined. We have the 12th strongest economy in the world, and we're growing by 1,000 people a day coming to Texas. Those are all important, but what's really important is the symbol that we are for the world and for our country, the leadership that we have in Texas.
There were 59 signers of the Texas Declaration of Independence. They met up here on March 1st of 1836. They were here for 17 days. And in those 17 days, they did a whole lot of things. They declared the independence of Texas on March 2nd. They wrote a constitution for the new Republic of Texas. And they created a provisional ad interim government where they elected a president, a vice president, and a cabinet.
Was this the school?
No, this is Independence Hall. This is where they actually came together.
Pretty astounding if you can imagine that they came up here and in 17 days did all of this. You write a letter to Washington today and they can't open it in 17 days. These guys created a whole new country and also created a whole new government for that country, as well as a constitution that would serve Texas for almost 10 years until we became a state.
Celebrations for the Texas Revolution actually began here the very next year. So we've had celebrations out here almost every year from 1837. You know, in the old days, they were grand things like balls and dances.
Now we got to open it up a little bit more.
Today we have more of a period setting, and we try to bring the history alive.
But they look kind of like that.
I'm here with the Texas Army, which is the official army of the state of Texas, and we're here to celebrate March 2nd, Texas Independence Day, the signing of the Texas Declaration of Independence. And on a day like today, we're pretty much just like they were back in 1836, cold, wet, and miserable. And I got here Friday morning about 9 a.m., started setting up our camp, and we've been here ever since. We'll go home this afternoon sometime. What you're seeing around you is the tonnage that they would have used in those days. Very intense. We got wall tents, we have A-frames, we have what they call pyramids, but these are all historically accurate tents. As far as anything you see out here that's hidden, you know, is modern, is hidden, but everything else is authentic to 1830s. Love of history. I love Texas. I'm not originally from here, but like most say, I got here as quick as I could from Louisiana, and I joined the Texas Army back in 1980, and have not looked back. I've been coming here since 1980 also, so it's been a lot of times I've seen a lot of fun down here.
In your time period, you have things called Varroa mites and American foulbrood.
And that's our goal, is education. this gives them a hands-on experience. Children, love to come up. They always ask the real questions. Is that a real gun? Is that a real fire? You sleep out here, and we explain to them, and sometimes they just can't grasp the fact that grown people dress up in silly clothes and sleep out in the cold, wet weather. But again, it gives us an opportunity to tell the history of the place and the history of Texas and what occurred here back in March 2nd, 1836.
They had their own homes that they would go to at the end of the day.
Of course, it's over for this year, but hopefully, that next year people see this and mark their calendars for next year and come out and enjoy the day with us and see the artillery fire and see the riflemen fire their muskets. Come in and talk to us, and get a taste for what life was like.